I used to think I understood my wife. Camilla always radiated poise, sleek black dresses, fire-red lips, and a presence that drew gazes like iron to magnet. When we married, her ambition was electric. She climbed corporate ladders as though gravity didn't apply. I supported from the sidelines, ironing her suits, prepping espresso before sunrise, memorizing names of colleagues I'd never meet. That was our unspoken agreement. She chased empires. I held down the fort. Her firm, Stratus and Veil, sold itself on prestige, promising clients luxury branding wrapped in opulence. Their functions resembled Hollywood galas. Champagne flowed, orchestras played symphonies, and photographers captured every golden moment. I had attended a few early on, though always as an afterthought, never with fanfare. Still, I stood proudly beside her, believing support mattered more than spotlight. But everything changed the morning I found the envelope. It had arrived with no return address, slipped between gas bills and subscription magazines. I slid it open without thinking. My name wasn't on it, after all, and pulled out a glossy invitation trimmed in silver. My stomach twisted. Stratus and Veil Presents. The Gala of Flames. Friday 8 p.m. All staff and spouses welcome. A gilded guest list accompanied it. Every department, every employee, each one marked with a +1, except mine. There was no mention of me. I wasn't even listed beside Camilla. Now, I'm not the jealous type. Suspicion isn't my natural state. But this omission wasn't accidental. This was calculated. I waited until she returned from yoga that evening. Her skin glistened with sweat, a towel slung around her neck like a trophy ribbon. Big event Friday? I asked casually, sipping orange juice to hide the tremble in my grip. She blinked. Just once. Then smiled. Oh, that? Yeah, just another silly work thing. Super boring. You'd hate it. Lie. I knew it instantly. Camilla was an expert at fabricating half-truths, but even she had tells. Her nose twitched when she lied. Not a flare, not a wrinkle. Just a small, almost imperceptible twitch like a mouse sniffing poison. And that twitch twitched now. I nodded. Of course. Probably better I stay back and catch up on writing. I was working on a novel, fictional, naturally, but now I had a plot twist playing out right in my living room. That night I couldn't sleep. Not just from suspicion, but from rage. Not screaming rage, cold rage. The kind that settles into your bones, whispers in your ear, and tells you that you've been played. If she'd simply said she wanted space, I could have handled it. If she admitted someone else made her heart stutter, I'd respect honesty. But to lie? To erase me? That demanded justice. The next morning, I devised my plan. First step: find out what really happened behind those glittering doors. I reached out to an old friend, Valen. We'd grown up together, studied photography in college before I abandoned it for ghostwriting. Valen, however, stuck with it. He now freelanced for corporate events and high-end galas, including, by sheer fortune, Stratus and Veil. Need a favor, I told him over lunch at a downtown cafe. Cover that company party Friday. Take your best gear. Get close. Snap everything. Especially my wife. Valen's eyebrow arched. Sounds shady. It's not, I lied. Just research. For a book. He shrugged. As long as you pay my rate. I doubled it. Camilla left Friday evening in a silver gown I hadn't seen before, spine-bearing, sculpted perfectly to her curves. Her perfume hung in the hallway long after she stepped into her Uber. I watched from the upstairs window, heart cracking with every click of her heels on concrete. Once she was gone, I poured whiskey, sat by the window, and waited. 2 hours later, Valen texted. You're not gonna believe this. He sent a photo. It showed Camilla on the ballroom floor, smiling, arms linked with a tall, chiseled man in an emerald tuxedo. Not just colleagues. Not just friends. She leaned in. Lips dangerously close to his neck. That wasn't work. That was lust. My stomach churned. Valen sent more. Dancing. Whispering. Champagne flutes clinking. His hand on her waist. Her laughter frozen in frame after frame. Then the final shot. Them leaving together. Not with the crowd. Alone. I stared at the images for over an hour, whiskey forgotten. I wanted to scream, smash something, cry, but instead, I felt a strange clarity wash over me. She'd betrayed me. Fine. But she underestimated me. And now it was my move. The sun rose, but the darkness inside me didn't fade. Camilla returned at dawn, heels in hand, makeup smeared like war paint. She tiptoed through the front door, thinking I was asleep. I wasn't. I hadn't moved from my chair all night. I didn't confront her. Not yet. I smiled, kissed her cheek, asked if she had fun. She said it was exhausting. Claimed she barely stayed an hour. Lied without hesitation. No remorse. Her tongue, a dagger sheathed in silk. And that confirmed it. This wasn't a one-time sin. This was a pattern. I needed to hit back smart, not hard. She was strategic, cunning. So my retaliation had to be surgical. Step 1: Infiltration. I started by researching the man in the green tuxedo. Valen's photos were crystal clear. Facial recognition apps and a little digital finesse led me to a LinkedIn profile. Nicholas Diran. Senior Accounts Director. Recently divorced. Of course. He fit her type. Powerful, charming, emotionally unavailable. The kind of man who loved the chase more than the capture. I created a fake persona, something polished. Wealthy. Dangerous. Julian Wexler. Venture capitalist. Widowed. Mysterious. Quick Fiverr order for a polished website. Premium Instagram account with staged yacht photos, art galleries, elite event. All fake, all believable. Then, I started liking Nicholas's posts. Subtle. Then commenting. Curious. He noticed within days. Slid into my DMs. Hey, you've got serious taste. Ever think about brand synergy investments? I replied. Only with people who play for keeps. Step 2: Seduction. To beat Camilla, I had to outlie her. She had her affair. I needed mine, but not out of lust. Out of necessity. Out of theater. I joined a members-only club downtown. Elite, decadent, hedonistic. The kind of place where secrets weren't whispered, they were worshipped. There, I met Lyra, tall, tattooed, stunning. Former runway model turned NFT curator. Yes, really. She had that chaotic beauty Camilla once had before spreadsheets and status replaced sparkle. I told Lyra everything. Well, not the whole truth. Just enough to draw her in. You're trying to ruin your wife? She asked, sipping absinthe with disinterest and delight. Not ruin. Just reset the scales. She grinned. Let me help. We staged encounters. Dinner at restaurants Camilla frequented with her co-workers. Kisses in parking lots her team often passed. Lyra even posed for a risque photo at the spa Camilla loved. Then came the theater's climax. We let Camilla see us. A week later, I invited her to lunch. Told her I missed her. That I wanted to reconnect. She hesitated, then agreed. We met at La Claire, her favorite bistro. Lyra entered 20 minutes after us, late by design. Walked right past our table. Stopped. Smiled at me. Then winked. Camilla's eyes widened, pupils shrinking to needles. She didn't speak for several seconds. When she finally did, her voice was frost. Friend of yours? I shrugged. Just someone I met recently. She's into digital architecture. Camilla didn't respond. Her lips pressed thin like knife edges. Checkmate? Not yet. Step 3: Exposure. I leaked the photos of her and Nicholas to an anonymous gossip blog that covered corporate circles. Sent them from a burner email, timed during peak traffic hours. Headline read: Power players caught after hours. Stratus and Veil exec linked to divorce director. It spread like gasoline on wildfire. The board wasn't happy. Camilla came home 3 hours early that day, pacing like a storm cloud, phone pressed to her ear. Damage control, she hissed into the receiver. I don't know who took the pictures. No, I wasn't with him. They're out of context. Just trust me. She slammed her phone on the table. I sipped tea from the kitchen. Something wrong. She stared at me, searching for cracks. You wouldn't know anything about a leak, would you? I looked her dead in the eye. No idea what you're talking about. Another lie. Another point on the scoreboard. Step 4, the twist. Camilla always underestimated me. Thought I was harmless. Boring. Predictable. But here's the thing about quiet men: we observe. We learn. And when we move, we strike deep. I had one more play. I waited until she was gone for another weekend retreat. With her laptop left open, I logged into her status and Veil portal. Easy, since I'd seen her password dozens of times. Childhood dog's name and birth year. Pathetic. Inside, I downloaded files. Client list. Contract. Private strategy decks. Nothing illegal. Just valuable. I emailed them to my new identity, Julian Wexler. Then, I leaked select parts to competitors, through proxies. Not enough to indict. Just enough to throw sand in Stratus and Veil's gears. Camilla's reputation tanked faster than a sinking yacht. The board demoted her. Nicholas ghosted her. Whispers swirled about conflicts of interest and mishandled ethics. She didn't lose her job. Not yet. But I wasn't finished. When she returned Sunday evening, she looked tired. Not in the physical way. In the hollow way. No sparkle. No edge. She sat beside me on the couch like a deflated balloon. I don't know what's happening, she said quietly. I looked at her. Really looked at her. And said, I do. After everything, she still didn't confess. Camilla stood at the edge of ruin, jobs slipping from her fingers, public whispers growing louder, yet she never said a word about Nicholas. About the lies. About erasing me. Instead, she played the victim. Blamed corporate jealousy. Claimed sabotage. Cried into silk pillows, held wine glasses with trembling hands, called me her rock. I let her. It was beautiful. But revenge, real revenge, doesn't just expose someone. It unmasks everything. I wasn't done. I decided it was time to turn friends into pawns. Her best friend, Juliet, had always looked at me like I was a houseplant, nice to have around, but irrelevant. Cold, sharp-edged, loyal to Camilla since college. But Juliet was also desperate, newly single, broke, and addicted to validation. So I offered her a story. I called, my voice hushed. I shouldn't be saying this, but Camilla's not who you think she is. Juliet didn't hang up. She leaned in. I told her about Nicholas. I painted the scenes: seduction, secrecy, betrayal. I even sent a blurred photo of the two locked in an embrace from the gala. Not enough to confirm identities, but enough to suggest. Juliet swallowed it whole. Within days, their friendship exploded. Camilla stormed into the house after a coffee meet-up turned into a screaming match in front of other patrons. She thinks I'm cheating. Like some back-alley mistress. Camilla spat, pacing. I can't imagine why she'd think that, I murmured, folding laundry. She narrowed her eyes. You're calm. I met her gaze. Should I be worried? The silence that followed wasn't comfortable. It was loud. Suspicious. Evolving. She started watching me. At night, she'd peek at my phone. Pretend to sleep, but I saw the flickers of movement. I moved our money into separate accounts. Quietly. Without a word. I sold a few shares I had in an old project, converted them to crypto, bounced through a wallet overseas. She didn't notice. She never cared about my side projects. One night, she woke me up. Her hair messy, voice soft. Are we okay? I blinked at her, fake groggy. Of course. She curled into me like nothing had ever happened. A fox clinging to the henhouse. But now, the hen had claws. I had to take it one level higher. It wasn't enough for her to suffer at work, to lose friends. I wanted her to feel it. In her bones. So I planted the seed. I've been thinking, I said over breakfast, stabbing eggs. Maybe we need a reset. A real one. Camilla looked up, wary. Reset how? I need space. Alone. To figure myself out. Her lips parted. Shock. Hurt. Good. For once, she was the one losing ground. I packed a duffel bag, booked a weekend getaway, and left her there, with silence, suspicion, and no control. But I didn't go far. I stayed at a hotel 5 blocks away. From my suite, I watched everything. Then I made her choose. I sent an anonymous email to her office, posing as a whistleblower. Subject line: Camilla Winslow's conflict of interest. Affair or advantage? Attached were more photos, blurred images, subtle clues, hints about contracts Nicholas managed during their relationship. I knew the firm would open an inquiry. I also knew what stress did to her. It fractured her. She came home that Monday looking pale, skin blotched, eyes empty. They're launching an ethics probe, she mumbled. Someone's framing me. I held her, kissed her forehead, told her to rest, and in that moment I felt nothing. But here's where things got complicated. Because Camilla wasn't the only one changing. I was too. At first, revenge felt electric, precise, justified. But now? I didn't recognize the man staring back at me in mirrors. I'd become cold, mechanical, a puppeteer with fraying strings. I stopped answering calls from friends, ignored my family. Even Lyra, who once sparked laughter, life, lust, became background noise. She wanted more. I couldn't give it. She left. Didn't blame her. But it made me realize, I hadn't just burned Camilla's life. I was torching mine too. Camilla broke first. Late one Thursday, she collapsed on the kitchen floor. I found her crying, shaking, broken. I don't know what's real anymore, she said, over and over. I feel like someone's pulling the world apart. I kneeled beside her, rubbed her back, and in that instant I saw it. She still loved me, but only because she believed I was all she had left. Not because she was sorry. Not because she wanted to rebuild. Just because her empire had crumbled, and I was the only pillar left. And for the first time I felt something new. Pity. Not for her. For myself. Because I'd spent all this time chasing justice, and it didn't heal anything. By the time autumn curled its fingers around the city, our home was a museum of silences. Camilla barely left the bedroom. I barely entered it. Emails from her company slowed, then stopped. She told me they put her on administrative leave. Internal audit pending. Rumors swirled about her affair. Even Nicholas stopped returning her calls. He'd vanished, reputation intact, while hers bled out in public. I should have felt victorious. But revenge doesn't come with confetti. It comes with ashes. One night, I found her packing a suitcase. Going somewhere? I asked. She didn't look at me. Just away for a bit. I need air. Space. She sounded like me from weeks ago. Funny how full circles feel like knives. She stopped zipping the bag and turned slowly. I know it was you. I raised an eyebrow. Know what was me? The leaks. The gossip blog. The photos. The whisper campaign. It's too precise, too personal. You knew exactly where to cut. Silence filled the room. I didn't deny it. Didn't confirm it either. She exhaled like someone being buried. Why didn't you just leave me? I stared at her, voice calm. Because leaving would have been mercy. You didn't offer me that. The confrontation opened floodgates. She admitted to the affair. Yes, with Nicholas. Yes, it had been going on for almost a year. No, she hadn't planned to end it. And no, she never felt guilty. Not until things collapsed. I was just tired of you, she said, almost whispering. You were safe, predictable, and I wanted fire. I nodded slowly. Then you got fire, I said. I didn't shout. I didn't smash dishes or demand apologies. Instead, I walked to the safe behind my bookshelf, entered the code, pulled out a thick folder and dropped it on the table. She flinched at the sound. Inside? photos, emails, printouts of her calendar where team events were actually hotel rendezvous, bank transfers, small, subtle, where she moved money out of our joint savings. I laid it all bare. And then I handed her a pen. "What's this?" she asked. "Divorce papers," I said. "Already filed. You just need to sign." She looked at the papers, then at me. Tears welled in her eyes, but not grief. Fear. "You planned this from the beginning?" "No," I said. "I planned it the day your company invited every husband but me." She signed. What choice did she have? She had no leverage, no income, her reputation shredded, her connections poisoned. When the final signature dried, I placed a plane ticket beside her. One way. To her sister's place, 3 states away. "Why are you being so kind?" she asked. I smiled. "I'm not." And I wasn't. Because the next day I called Stratus and Vale anonymously. Gave them one last file, a recording I'd made of our earlier conversation. The one where she admitted everything. The affair. The breach. She was terminated within hours. No severance. No references. Just a polite escort out of a building she once ruled. And me? I didn't celebrate. Didn't throw a party or brag online. I just sat on our empty balcony, wine glass in hand, staring at the skyline I used to share with her. Revenge had taken her down. But it didn't lift me up. I'd become a ghost, cold, calculating, invisible in mirrors. That's when I knew I had one more step left. Redemption. I took a long trip. No email. No social media. I traveled alone, mountains, deserts, coastlines. I journaled. I breathed. I forgave myself for not seeing it sooner. I stopped trying to understand her. And started trying to understand me. I returned home months later, not to the house. I sold that. Bought a smaller place. Quiet. Just mine. I opened a consulting business, finally pursuing what I loved, not what padded resumes. Clients came in slowly, then steadily. Word spread. My name meant something again. My name, not hers. I even reconnected with Lyra. Not romantically. Just coffee. We laughed. We didn't talk about the past. And that was okay. One spring morning, I received a letter. No return address. Handwritten. It was from Camilla. Inside were just a few lines. "You destroyed me. But you also saved me. I hope one day we're both free of this story." I folded the note. Placed it in a drawer. Didn't burn it. Didn't frame it. Just kept it. Because part of healing is remembering. Not to reopen wounds. But to prove you survived them.